Low vision is significantly less than average eyesight, not correctable back to average with regular lenses.
A bit of information can be helpful. The checkered eye gives some information. If you notice someone is wearing it, it means that person has partial blindness, also known as low vision. Go to checkeredeye.com for more information and pass it on. And please, check for the checkered eye. It just adds some understanding.
My name is Shannon. Please stay tuned for my story on the Parker Daniels Show.
What time it is? Another episode of the Parker Daniels Show. And today I have a very patient, special guest. Her name is Shannon, right?
That's right.
Okay, well, glad to meet you, Shannon. A little introduction about Shannon. Today I bring you a special guest, and she is an entrepreneur. She is a single parent. She owns her own landscaping business, but she also has time to be a mother, and that's a real good thing about it. You know what I'm saying? People, you know what I'm saying, we work these days and whatnot, but there are some people who leave their kids unattended. Then there are some people who are good mothers and good fathers and do what they can. But enough said about that. The reason why I had brought Shannon on is because I am not here to praise her or anything like that for what she does, congratulate her or commend her, because she's doing what she feels in her heart as a mother. Her reason for coming on here is to talk about her child rearing situation, in that Shannon adopted a little girl by the name of Shaylin. Am I correct?
That's it.
Shaylin is currently 12 years old, y'all, about to make 13 in March, and Shannon adopted her through the foster care system when she was 3 years of age. She's diagnosed with pardon me if I have trouble saying the diagnosis, but what is it called, Shannon?
It's Bardet-Biedl syndrome.
Okay, and it has some effects, but the main effect is the visually impaired. That's a huge, effect of this particular syndrome. Shaylin is currently a little bit more about her. She currently has night vision. She has problems, and she has significant impairments in the daytime. But regardless of that, Shaylin is a pianist. We should hear about her in the future. And she learns, she's reading Braille, she's working with her cane and learning her mobility travels. And she enjoys different visually impaired programs. And I wanted to bring Shannon on here. Of course, y'all, I'm excited about it because most people who adopt individuals through foster care, nine times out of 10, there's not too much that's wrong with them, but Shannon is going to talk to us and let us know what happened, what transpired, and just give us some information about Shaylin. And you're definitely going to be excited about it, because I am as well. So with that being said, Shannon, as I struggled, because people going to say, boy, you struggled through the monologue. That's because, let me preface, I know I talk a lot. I tried to do this earlier, but my kids were acting up and whatnot. But I have her full attention, and this is gonna be her show, and she's gonna talk as long as I want her to do. So Shannon, you have the floor.
Thank you so much for having me on, and I understand whenever kids come in and make some noise. Thankfully, I've got mine over to the other part of the house right now, so they won't do too much interrupting. But Shaylin's condition is called Bardet-Biedl syndrome. It is a very rare syndrome. It affects about 1 in every 140 to 160,000 in the United States. And it does have numerous systems within the body that it affects, but the most outward affected system is her vision. So right now she's completely night blind. And during the day and in dim light, she has significant visual impairment. And it's been a very interesting journey for all of us, trying to learn to navigate in the world without having vision. I've had to learn a lot, just as much as she's had to learn a lot. Obviously, she's had to learn a whole lot more than I have, but it's been an interesting challenge to rearrange our life to make sure that we meet the accommodations that she needs to not put herself or others in harm's way, and to make sure that she has as much preparation for becoming completely blind as she can possibly have. Being born able to see, it's going to be a challenge for her once she becomes completely blind, which is typically around the age of 15. Some individuals that are affected by this syndrome do go as far as being 20, but it is going to be a challenge for her. There are two parts to Bardet-Biedl as far as what type of vision effects you could have. You could either have retinitis pigmentosa, or you could have rod cone dystrophy, or in some cases you could have both. And initially, when she was diagnosed, we believed that she only had the retinitis pigmentosa, and we're excited to know that there was a possibility of her keeping a pinhole amount of her vision. But unfortunately, we found out a couple of years ago that she actually has both conditions of the syndrome, and so she will eventually become completely visually impaired. She has, become mostly proficient in Braille. Hopefully by the time she becomes completely blind, she will be entirely proficient in Braille. And then, of course, she has plenty of training on use of her cane and the proper safety things that need to be done in public or at home or at school to make sure that she keeps herself safe and others. And then during the summertime, she does different programs in Louisiana. She does Bell program, Buddy program, those types of things to help her further her social understanding, and have different life skill practices for when she becomes completely visually impaired.
Wow.
She has definitely done a lot.
Definitely. So you're very knowledgeable on that. So tell us, was she diagnosed with this prior to you actually adopting her, or was it something that happened as time went on?
When Celine joined the family as a foster child, she had a diagnosis of another genetic disorder called Prader-Willi syndrome, and I had done some studying and reading and research on that syndrome, and within 24 hours of her being under my roof, I knew that was not what she had. So I contacted a geneticist and scheduled an appointment for her to come in and see him and hopefully receive the proper diagnosis. Of course, as soon as we got there and I started telling him what she was diagnosed with and the things that she was doing, he immediately knew that that was not what she had and believed through his knowledge that he knew what she had. And he left the room for a little bit and went and did a little bit of research and then came back and basically asked me a litany of questions. And from that list of questions that he asked me, he determined that she had Bardet-Biedl syndrome. So at that point, I was able to inform her biological parents and DCFS, the Department of Children and Family Studies, Department of Children and Family Services. I was able to let them know, but it didn't stop me from moving forward with the adoption once her parents' parental rights were terminated. It wasn't something that deterred me from adopting her. Like I shared earlier, I have two children that are visually impaired.
Oh, really?
And they both have different types of visual impairment, but my youngest daughter is the survivor of shaken baby syndrome, and so she has cortical blindness. So instead of it being due to a structural issue, it's just due to a neurological issue from the damage that she sustained when she was attacked as an infant.
Oh.
She was about 3 months old when her father brutally attacked her and pulverized the entire left hemisphere of her brain. So she has a lot of medical issues, and one being the visual impairment. So we have challenges in both areas of visual impairment for both of my girls, but we have learned to make the accommodations, and my entire family has learned to adapt Ceylin actually ends up being the only child within her school system that has a visual impairment. So the school system also is learning how to adapt and accommodate and educating themselves on all of the needs that an individual with visual impairment has.
Wow. So, Shannon, that was a mouthful that you said, and it's very filled with information. With that, with her dealing with her and her siblings, how do you have time to actually, do the motherly deal, take care of them, and actually work as a single parent? Because I know it got to be kind of hard and stressing.
It is. There's no doubt. During the day, Ceylin is at school, and then she is able to stay after school for an extended care program that they offer. And then Tila goes to a medical day center in Baton Rouge where they meet her needs in order for me to be able to continue to work. And for the most part, it ends up just being me by myself doing all the things that need to be done for the kids. But if there's ever a time that I need any help, my mama and my daddy are able to kind of step in and help do things if I'm not able to get them taken care of myself.
Oh, okay. Now, I mean, I know this may be a little off the cover, but it's going to tie in. I never seen you, but by me hearing your voice, you sound kind of young, and the reason why I want to say that because as a young parent, most of these people, most of them cannot deal with something of this magnitude. What is it that's strengthening you, that's keeping you determined to say, even though I have kids with special needs, I'm gonna keep on moving on and keep it going? Because you sound like that a person that has that drive. What's keeping you moving and saying, well, I'm gonna do this and raise these kids this way, as opposed to saying, well, I just can't do it?
Well, I definitely have that drive. I always wanted to be a parent. I wanted to have a bunch of kids, and I have an older child that is biologically mine, and I was amazingly blessed with him. But I had a lot of fertility issues, and he ended up being the only child that I was able to give birth to. And so I knew I wanted to have a whole bunch of kids, but I never thought about how it was going to happen. When I started with the foster care program, my son was 5. I was 27, because I'll be 39 next month. So it's been an interesting journey for him as well as myself. And I just wanted to have a bunch of kids, and I just never thought about the whole aspect of foster care. I guess my naivety in the need for foster parents, or how many foster children there actually were in the world, or just in Louisiana, my naivety prevented me from truly understanding how many were out there and how much of a need there was for foster families. Right. And so I started doing that and being a foster parent. And of course the goal for my girls was to reunify them with their parents, and that didn't happen, and unfortunately for her, for their parents, but fortunately for me, I got to become a mama to kiddos that I just never expected to have. And it no matter what the challenge is, they are such a blessing to me. I mean, I've been told many times over that I'm a blessing to them, but
yes, you are.
The way that I feel is that, as much of a blessing as I may be to them, they're tenfold the blessing to me. And, I feel like, God teaches people through Tila and through Ceylin. People watch their journeys and the experiences that they have, and they learn from them. And I just feel like He put them on this world to teach, and they do their job, and it's just been a great growing experience for all of us. Myself, but my whole family included in that, as well as the peers that they've been around.
Wow. And you know what? I said I wasn't. This wasn't a situation where I was saying I commend you and all that, because I don't really like saying it. But the thing of it is, man, I really feel you, because it's it's like you are really sincere about what you're doing, and it is coming across to me, and I'm quite sure my audience as well, as you are really being sincere about what you're saying, and this is something that you want to do, and it's not nothing that, I'm gonna adopt some kids and blah blah blah, whatever, I'm coming to do this interview and blah blah blah. You are coming across to me as being very sincere, and I have to really applaud you for doing what you are doing in terms of just being a mother to kids who need to have a mother, or to be just to be loved and whatnot. Now with Shaylin, is she able to walk, talk, things of that nature, or is she function?
Right. Shaylin is. So Shaylin was 3 when she joined the family, and like I said, she's almost 13 now. And whenever she joined the family at 3, or she's 3 and a half, she was still diapered. She did not talk, so we had to go through that whole process of potty training and learning how to talk and all that stuff. But with Tila, I've had her since she was 4 months old, and she is now 8 years old, and she is completely 24/7 dependent on my care. She only functions on a 3 to 6 month level, so she's diapered, she's tube fed. She will always be diapered and tube fed. She's on many, many medications a day. She's a solid 70 pounds of dead weight, and she's nothing but a ball of happiness all the time, even with all of her disabilities. She's got many medical challenges, but she stays happy. And that's the same thing for Shaylin, too. Even with the challenges that Shaylin has physically, she stays happy. She's got the happiest disposition and constantly smiling, and does what she can to be helpful and sweet and caring, even with all the challenges that she has. And it's a testament to anyone to look at the challenges that both of my girls have and say, you know what, I really shouldn't complain about what goes on in my world when these girls stay so happy all the time, even with everything that they endure. I mean, that's the way that I look at it. When I think about being,
to be honest with you, it's the only way from
Right. I mean, I look at it sometimes and I'm like, I'm so frustrated with whatever's going on in my day, and then I look at my girls and I'm like, but it's nothing compared to what they go through on a daily basis, the challenges that they are met with on a daily basis. So the little stuff that frustrates me, it just doesn't compare.
So is that the motivation that's really keeping you going? Because like I said, I know it can be a test, at times. So what you had just stated earlier, is that the motivation to like, when you look at your girls, you see the smiles on their faces. That's the drive that's keeping you going.
Absolutely. I mean, and they're my babies.
Wow.
I mean, no matter how they came to me, whether through birth or adoption, those are my babies, 100%. And so, they are my driving force to be who I am every day, and to be a better person every day, and to challenge myself in every way that I can, because there's not anything that I would not do for them. And as much as I can possibly challenge myself and show them that I can do, I know that will help to challenge them also to do everything that they can do for themselves.
Okay. Well, man, this was a very, very intricate and very important video that I want to bring to people to let them know that, it's a challenge to raise your own kids, but when you raise someone else's kid, or adopt someone else's kids and raise them, and those kids may have special needs, and you take on that challenge and what have you, and you mother them, you treat them as their own, man, that means the world to me and whatnot. So with that being said, Shannon, do you have any words of encouragement for any individual? Because you've given me a great deal of inspiration. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, there are days when I feel like, but this story here, man, you definitely opened my eyes up to a lot of things that I'm quite sure you're gonna do with a lot of other people as well. So just give them some encouragement, because you're just a ball full of positivity. Just leave them with something, and tell them why, in the end, why they should support the Parker Daniels Show. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Anybody and everybody has the opportunity to give in this world, and that's what we're put on this earth for. We're not here to take, we're here to serve, and everybody needs to do their part. And there are plenty of children in the foster care system that need placement. And if anybody was interested in becoming a foster parent, it's a very simple process. You just reach out to DCFS, whether it be by phone or on the internet, and submit an application. You go through the screening process and through the education, and you can become certified. And it doesn't take a whole lot, but as far as to get your certification, but it does take a whole lot to be committed to these kids.
Yep.
Nobody that doesn't have that commitment should, become involved, because it is something that truly is a huge commitment to these kids. They need stability and someone who's really getting into it to be there for them. And these types of programs like what you are doing to educate people on individuals with disabilities is exactly what else needs to be supported and used to grow and educate with, because just like my naivety about the foster care system, there's so many naive people out there about the individuals with disability or the disability world. A lot of times people don't understand that when budget cuts happen for disability programs or Medicaid programs or research programs, the numbers of people that are affected by it until they are actually part of that group. And so becoming educated by listening to shows like yours is how they can have their eyes opened a little bit more to that world, because there's a huge number of areas of support that people can get themselves involved in. They just don't necessarily know about it. So your program helps to teach that.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I don't even need to say anything else. You have been a wonderful guest. Only thing I need to say is, first of all, this show has been brought to you by The Checkered Eye, and Libby is going to be on tomorrow to tell you more about it. I'm going to put the commercial in after this show, but again, definitely subscribe to the Parker Daniel Show. You will get some very informative information that you need to know about individuals who are going through certain situations. Hit the notification bell, and I'm glad, Shannon, to have you on here, because you have been a blessing for me, and I'm quite sure you will be for others as well.
Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
My name is Shannon. Thank you for listening to my story on the Parker Daniel Show. Please remember to like, subscribe, and follow.